Hi, this is Dr. Matt Garcia, Utah State Beef Specialist. Um, I'd like to do another producer-educator video today focusing on the benefits of grazing. This is actually a card we've had out for a good while now, but I think with some of the things that are going on lately with some of the public concerns with utilizing public lands for grazing, some of the wildfires we're seeing, I thought it was pretty important to probably get this video out, and plus we haven't had a video out for a little while. The thing I don't think the public realizes about grazing is that producers understand that this is they're probably their most vital resource. They understand that this is a slow recovering resource, and they understand without grazing resources or forage resources that they're essentially out of business. It makes it virtually impossible in the Intermountain West to operate a beef operation if you're not maintaining, taking care of, maximizing your grazing resources. You have to utilize it in a way that is sustainable for generations to come. Now, I think a lot of the pushback has come from some of the unregulated grazings we saw during World War I, World War II, where stocking rates weren't really adhered to. There was a lot of cattle being put out on land that probably couldn't maintain a lot of that type of influx of cattle. But a lot of our modern grazing practices that we're utilizing right now has really allowed those pastures to heal. In terms of adhering to stocking rates, rotation grazing, grazing only at certain times of the year. We have some new technologies that show us in terms of when we should actually be putting animals out for grazing. Some of the satellite technologies that us and myself and Eric Thacker and Dr. Stone will be putting out to kind of see if we can maximize some of the green up resources of Utah with our production cycles to better utilize these resources. But the other thing I think the public doesn't realize is that producers, especially in the Intermountain West, tend to be very conservative with their stocking rates, because they do understand that their grazing resources are going to be variable from year to year, and that this is a very fragile resource. They really want to maintain it. They really want to take care of it, because they know that they're going to need it year after year, and it's going to be something they're going to need long term. So it's not something that they're looking to damage in any way, shape, or form. Now, the other thing that we know from a lot of the grazing studies is that there are quite a few benefits to nature. One of the big ones that we know of is that it can actually reduce fire danger. Having animals go out and graze and take some of that undergrowth up, remove it from the pasture, actually lessens that fire danger, because there's less of a fuel source for fire to take place and spread rapidly. We've actually, I think Dr. Thacker actually put up an image on the Utah State Range Facebook page showing how the fire actually stopped right next to a pasture, didn't spread, and was more easily contained in a pasture that had just recently been grazed by cattle, as opposed to the pasture next to it, which hadn't been grazed in quite a while. The other thing in terms of nature that we do know is that there are some real benefits to wildlife. We know that the cattle are going to select different plants. We know that cattle are going to take some plants, prevent some plants from overgrowing that wildlife will not select for typically. It's going to allow certain plants that wildlife do select for to be more prominent. So there's a food source there, but it also increases biodiversity and heterogeneity of that system. I mean, it's going to be more diverse, it's going to be more stable, it's going to be more easily utilized and more effectively utilized by both animal production and wildlife sources. The other thing that proper grazing does is it can be used as a source of weed control. Proper grazing does not allow a lot of these invasive weeds or these noxious weeds to kind of take hold of that pasture and make it a system where we can't utilize it. And the other thing that we really see in the Intermountain West is that grazing or proper grazing is very good at maintaining open space. Basically meaning that it's going to keep our grasslands. It's going to keep conifer encroachment from coming in. We all have some juniper issues that we were readily or pretty frequently dealing with. So this is something that can help us if we graze properly, that kind of prevent that from happening. And I think these are some things that the public really doesn't realize about the beef production system, is that how highly we value and how highly we respect the lands we're grazing, because we know that it is a vital resource. Now, we are still producing these cards, these beef producer educator cards. We have 2 more that are in process right now. We're actually producing one for the state to be handed out to county fairs. It's going to be a kind of a maintenance and care of 4-H animals, because we have had some public concern of how these animals are treated, and we all know that these animals are very, very much pampered in our industry. In terms of the grazing, feel free to reach out to me. Dr. Eric Thacker has some of these cards as well. In terms of expertise on grazing, Dr. Eric Thacker or maybe even Dr. Earl Creech would probably be some good resources, some very valuable resources to reach out to if you had some questions on this. And with that, I will go ahead and leave you, and hopefully we'll have another one of these videos out soon. Thanks.